Hey, so um, I want to talk a little bit about Evan's last day. So it was early April 2022, and Lori woke me up and said, Deb, his mom, wants you to go over ASAP. So he had been just hanging on for days, and the hospice nurse realized the only reason why he was living was because of his oxygen. So Deb and his father, John, decided that it was time to take the oxygen off. And they knew it would probably not take long for him to pass away. So they asked me to come over. It was in the afternoon. I think it was 1 or 2 in the afternoon. I was actually scheduled to work that night. I came over and he was in his bed. They quickly got him into his wheelchair and wheeled him outside. His brother, Ian, and Ian's um, girlfriend at the time, Ashley, they live in Arizona. So they called him up, put the phone on Evan's chest, and took the oxygen off. Quickly, he turned gray, and I thought he was going to go fast. I called my family up, my kids, and my wife got to say goodbye to him. Put the phone to his ear. He smiled, and he had this. And they said goodbye. He had this smile on his face. Initially, I thought it was a sense of peace, which it probably was, but it was almost a smirk. Well, now that I look back, I realize he was saying, "Watch this." So I've seen many people pass away, and this was the most amazing end of life I've ever seen, with Evan's loved ones around him, and he wouldn't go. And it wasn't like he was scared, it was like he was a fighter. And all he knew in his life was to fight, and he wouldn't go. So I think that smile was a smirk, and he was saying, "Watch this." Well, if you like movies or good books, have you ever read a book or watched a movie and the ending, the last 10 minutes of the movie or the last chapter just hasn't doesn't have a good ending. So you have this perfect story and has a bad ending. Well, Evan was a perfect story with a perfect ending to a chapter. It was amazing. He was an amazing human being. I'm so grateful to be his nurse for those 16 years. But witnessing um, the loved ones come and go over those last few hours, and Ian and Ashley, poor Ian and Ashley, they were on the phone. I think it was like 6 hours, and he just wouldn't go. But witnessing, Deb has a really good friend that's been friends for over 30 years. Her name's Kathy, and her daughter, whose name is Lindsay, they stuck around. And I believe they would have been there if he lasted that whole night. Um, and then he passed. So let's fast forward about a year. So the Eras Tour started up, and I was so discouraged and depressed. I never was able to get Evan to meet Taylor. I just felt like a failure. And the Eras Tour started, and it's like I was just so down. And then his brother Ian messaged me. He lives in Arizona. He said, "Me and Ashley are going to the Eras Tour tomorrow night." And then he messaged me and he that next night and said it was amazing. Evan would have loved it. Well, let's back up. So Evan passed away, and like I said, he wanted to go, but I didn't. So I became his nurse that evening, and I was his nurse for about an hour when he passed. And just by chance, it was exactly 16 years. from the day I became his nurse to the day he died. Monday, the first Monday of April. And it's all said and done. The funeral home comes and wheels them away. And then it just became really real. And I did all my charting and went home. And there's my wife on the couch. And no words were said. I just went over to her and put my head on her chest and just started bawling. Sorry. So let's go forward again. So Aristo started. Ian messages me and says, Evan would have loved this concert. And then suddenly my brain did a 180. All my discouragement and all my being depressed turned into happiness. And because the next morning, all right, so the next morning, I turned on Twitter and I messaged people the evening before that Evan had passed away. And the wonderful messages that you guys sent me, it was overwhelming. So many wonderful things you sent me. I'm so grateful for that. So now witnessing Ian and then all my friends on Twitter going to the Eras Tour, I was so happy for you. And from this point on, I've been so happy. And then Gillette Stadium, her friend Kathy and Kathy's daughter Lindsay, seeing pictures of them going and just being so happy. So this video about a month ago, I said I want to pay tribute to you guys. Please send me pictures of you going to Eras Tour. And you guys sent some amazing pictures. And then on top of it, if you see this shirt, the woman I love the most, that has been there for me so many times when I needed her the last year, Lori, my wife. We went to see Ed Sheeran, and I brought Evan's shirt with me. And I felt him there so much. So there's a couple pictures I added on top of the Eras Tour pictures. It's a couple pictures of Lori and I seeing Ed. Thank you so much for everyone. Thank you, Lori. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Kathy. And especially Lori and all of you on Twitter. Thank you so much. Here's the video.